There's a fine line between moral outrage and political grandstanding. Zohran Mamdani, a rising star in New York state politics, son of legendary filmmaker Mira Nair and self-declared democratic socialist, just erased that line with a black marker. He didn't just overstep, he misfired. In a recent interview, Mamdani has said there are only a few Muslims left in Gujarat. Modi is no different from Netanyahu, and both should be seen as war criminals. Big words, dangerous comparisons, and a complete disregard for facts. Let's unpack this. Gujarat, the state Prime Minister Narendra Modi once governed as Chief Minister, is home to over 6 million Muslims. That's not speculation. That's the 2011 Census of India. Muslims make up 9.7% of Gujarat's population. They are not a tiny minority. They are not erased. They are not ghosts. They are Indian citizens, visible, vocal, and vital. To claim that they are few is not just inaccurate, it's disrespectful to the community, to the data, and to every Gujarati Muslim who calls that land home. Now, you might say he was using rhetoric. He was making a larger point. Well, maybe. But if you're in public office, even if it's one state assembly seat in New York, your words matter, especially when they're aimed at the leader of the world's largest democracy. And here's the kicker. Even Modi's critics in India didn't defend Mamdani's exaggeration. Several Indian opposition leaders, including Muslim lawmakers, fact-checked him because this isn't a left versus right issue. This is a truth versus fiction issue. But Mamdani didn't stop there. He likened Prime Minister Modi to Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu. He said both are leading genocidal regimes, that they should be seen and tried as war criminals. Wow! Again, let's take a pause. Whatever your views on India's internal politics, whether you praise Modi or protest him, equating him with Netanyahu in the current global climate is more than a false analogy. It's an incendiary one. Israel is currently engaged in a full-scale military operation in Gaza. Civilian casualties are mounting. The International Criminal Court is considering charges. The context is brutal and bloody. To place Modi, a democratically elected leader of a multi-religious, constitution-bound republic, into that frame is not just intellectually lazy, it's morally opportunistic. And it begs the question, what does Mamdani gain from this? Well, the answer is simple. He gains clout. In far-left circles in the West, India, especially under Modi, has become a convenient punching bag. It's trendy to paint the country as authoritarian. It's easy to equate Hindu nationalism with white supremacy. And it's politically profitable to accuse Indian leaders of fascism, especially if they are not your own. And here's the problem. When you weaponize labels like war criminal without evidence, without nuance, and without responsibility, you don't sound principled. You sound performative. And no, pointing out human rights concerns is not the same as calling for war crimes trials. There's a difference between accountability and assassination of character. Mamdani chose the latter. He assassinated Modi's character. Now let's talk about what's not being said. Mamdani is the son of Ugandan Indian academic Mahmood Mamdani and filmmaker Mira Nair. He has Indian roots. He's not a stranger to the subcontinent. And that's exactly why his statement stings even more. Because it didn't come from ignorance, it came from ideological arrogance. There's a temptation among young progressive leaders in the West to speak about the global South with a missionary zeal, as if their Western frameworks of justice, race, and identity can be neatly mapped onto nations with entirely different histories. They don't understand. India is not America. Its wounds, its riots, its recoveries are its own. Let's go back to Gujarat. Yes, 2002 happened. It was horrific. Over 1,000 people died. The majority of them were Muslims. The state failed to protect its citizens. It deserves scrutiny, but not erasure. But Gujarat also elected Muslim MLAs after 2002. It restored peace. It saw economic growth across communities. And in 2019, when India voted in its general elections, nearly 40 million Muslims cast their ballots freely, including in Gujarat. To suggest that Muslims have been wiped out from Gujarat is to deny their resilience, their rights, and their voice. Mamdani's comments also ignore one more reality, that India is not a theocracy. Unlike many Islamic nations that constitutionally privilege one religion over another, India has always, even under Modi, maintained secularism as a constitutional value. Its courts are independent. Its media, for all its flaws, is wildly diverse. Its elections are among the largest and most complex in the world. Is there polarization? Yes. Is there vigilantism? Unfortunately, yes. But to leap from that to genocide, to use language meant for Rwanda, Bosnia, or Gaza is both wrong and dangerous. Because when words like genocide are misused, real genocides lose their gravity. Real victims get lost in the noise of political theatre. Here's what this episode reveals. Mamdani isn't just wrong, he's reckless. And that recklessness matters because he's not just a local politician anymore. He's being projected as part of the next generation of progressive American leaders. His name is floated in conversations about the Congress, maybe even the Senate. Who knows? Who knows someday the White House, and if that day comes, India will remember this moment. Because diplomacy has a long memory. And countries don't forget when their head of government is called a war criminal by someone who might represent America someday. This isn't about defending Modi, it's about defending reason. You can oppose Modi's policies, you can criticize the BJP, you can question the Citizenship Amendment Act, the NRC, or even the abrogation of Article 370. But what you cannot do if you want to be taken seriously is invent facts, inflate rhetoric, and incite division across borders. Let's be clear, this isn't an anti-Mamdani hit job. He's young, he's passionate, he's politically ambitious. And yes, he's got a compelling story. But with ambition must come accountability. You want to build a better world? Then you start with better language. You want to be a moral voice? Then respect the facts. You want to criticize Modi? Well, fine, do it with rigor, not with Twitter sloganeering. Because words shape worlds. And one day, Zohran Mamdani might find himself in a position where his words carry weight far beyond the Bronx. Because India is listening. And so are 6 million Muslims in Gujarat. This was the last word with Manoranjana. And to those who shout loudest, just a quiet reminder. Truth doesn't need volume. It needs accuracy. Jai Hind.